Hello everyone, it's Mr. Wiki, back again with Wattpad reviews. Just me, a bottle and a notebook, and this computer. Anyway, let's get straight into it. We'll be reviewing Chapter 1 of the Akira files by Eve066, called Runaway. Anyway, let's just get... So first I'll read, and then I'll explain what I like and don't like about this chapter in specific. I'll do an overarching review of the whole story once I finish all 66 chapters. But for now, I'll only be rating this one chapter. So anyway, yeah. First, let's read. Runaway by Eve066, dedicated to truthful vampire. Of course, all this stuff. Copyrights go to the original creator of Naruto. I just added in Akira and changed in a few things. Everything else remains his. Now, let me just say this now. I don't know who this Akira is. I searched up Naruto Akira on Google, but only OCs came up. I mean, and they're like multiple, not just one. The only thing I can really assume is this Akira by Akira Shogun, but there were many more that had brown hair, and I could only make the assumption that it was this Akira due to the description of the character. I don't know if Eve066 asked Akira Shogun to use that Akira, or Eve066 is Akira Shogun. I don't know. So anyway, it was a fanfic originally posted on Quizilla in 2009 and then published on Wattpad in 2011. So yeah, support their Patreon and let's begin. Don't even think to run, you stupid kid. The man's voice was only a few meters away now. His voice was gruff, and his laborious breaths weren't helping. They had cornered me before, but with a bit of ingenuity, I had slipped away. Not without scraping my knee after performing an ill-performed barrel roll, that is. Wow, that sucks. The man raised a kunai horizontal to his chest and posed to throw it. My attention slipped as I broke one of the number one rules of running: never look back. That also sucks. You're making multiple mistakes. Ma'am? Yeah. Mm-hmm. He threw the kunai as I tripped over the root. The leaves slid out from under my hand. I looked up at the kunai lodged deep into a nearby tree. Well, that was lucky, but now he's closer. I stood up once more to run. I needed a way to lose these people. A way to be free and out of danger. I couldn't go back. Not now. Not ever. I mean, okay. Okay, so this does raise my interests. What's her origins? I don't know. We'll probably find out later. She left her village? I don't know. I mean, I'm not the most Naruto savvy person. I haven't read it or watched it. I guess it just never really piqued my interests. That's all. Sunway. As we continue, as I was running, another man jumped down from the tree next to me and grabbed a good fistful of my hair. He dragged me back to the other man, who was standing with what victorious eyes. I could have sworn he was smirking, but I couldn't really tell. His mouth was horribly disfigured beyond recognition. And how was he talking? I don't know. My tolerance for life so far is thinning, leaving me with only pure impulses. Screw thinking things over rationally. My head was pounding as I was literally dragged across the ground. I knew this headache wasn't just going to go away. The causes were too influential. Mainly one, dehydration. I hadn't had anything to drink since I started running 2 days ago. And two, the guy's grip on my hair was painful. I felt every last follicle of my hair being ripped out through the scalp. Mm-hmm. Finally, we got her. The boss would definitely be happy to see this. The man approached me as I started on the ground. I think I'll call him idiot number one. It's just easier that way. I mean, hey, we gotta differentiate them somehow, huh? I heard more than I saw. More than I saw him walking towards me. I'm assuming she's closing her eyes right now. I steeled myself for yet another impulsive move. Once I could see his boots, I tried to kick out at them, but only earned me a sore back as I was lifted by his friend, or idiot number two, in my mind. I was airborne for about 2 seconds before hitting the ground. Hard, no soft landing for me. Reminds me of that one time I fell off of a sheep running pretty fast. Yeah. I lay there momentarily as the air was pushed from my lungs. I tried not to gasp or show any pain, but a few swift intakes of air were all the proof they would need. They had hurt me, and they were proud of it. But my God, that killed. Now I'm in even worse a shape than before. I groaned in my mind, trying to get rid of the pain. That could have gone slightly better. Okay, new plan. And I got nothing. Haha, funny. Generic joke. Great. Way to think this one out. Come on. Think. What do you do about the enemy in front of you? They smell bad. They tire easily. They hang. Then again, a lot of people do. Oh, so we have a. How do I describe this? No, I have no way to describe it. They look dumb. Do they even contribute to intellect? Seeing as I have no idea, I'm going to say no and cancel that fact. In quotes. As I lay there on the ground thinking of ways to escape and failing miserably, I decide to observe them for a bit longer, see if there's any other bit of info I could get. Besides, if I got away, and if I met them again, I would know more about them and have an advantage. Idiot 1 had a sturdy build and a deep voice. He could have been in his early 30s. Yep, I think I give him a good voice. It didn't seem that bright, though. In fact, he seemed to be downright stupid with the way he was arguing with idiot number 2. The other seemed more of a strategist, a thinker. It was probably him that thought to ambush me. He's also in his early 30s. He had the build of a runner. But he still didn't catch me. I thought allowing a ghost of a smile. I thought allowing a ghost of a. That sentence is formatted weird. His voice, though was rough, and seemed strained like he had hurt his throat permanently. Guess he needs to drink some of this fries water. Yeah, maybe that fix it, or maybe not, since it's fries water. You know? Not like a cough or anything, more like his throat was raw and burnt. It sounded painful, but it couldn't hurt us that much, or else he wouldn't be able to run like he supposedly had. Unless there was a shortcut. If there was, I'm the idiot for not finding it. I reached a hand to push some of my hair back to my face. It was then I realized that they hadn't bothered to tie me up. I raised an eyebrow. These guys suck at keeping a prisoner. Did they skip prisoner 101 in bad guy school, or what? I slowly rose to a standing position. They still hadn't noticed. they were too preoccupied with some argument that they couldn't notice their prisoner escaping. Well, that's good for me then, as I thought, as I took a small step back and promptly stepped on the lap. Good job, just great. These sentences sometimes confuse me. Promptly stepped on the loudest twig that they had ever lain on the forest ground. Idiot number 2 turned glaring around before marching over me and grabbing my arm. See, this is what I'm talking about. If they hadn't been here, she wouldn't never been captured. She wouldn't, she wouldn't have nearly escaped if you hadn't distracted me with your stupid, I'm smarter, so I could get the bigger cut speech. Besides, I had to chase her over 2 fields, though a canyon and this whole forest. All you did was ride on your prissy little pony. He riddled his arm, showing. No, he crossed his arm, showing riddles of scars. It's a summoning jutsu. If you had brain matter instead of muscle matter growing between your ears, you know that it's beneficial to. Are you even listening? Idiot number 1 flicked a bit of earwax into the. Yeah, whatever. I say I get the haircut. I did most of the work. No, you didn't. I could tell they were both about to butt head scan. So I contently stood watching as both grew angrier by the second. Every so often I would shift my arm, but his grip never faltered. You know, okay, who was this talking? Idiot number 1. You know what I think? Okay, it's idiot number 2. You know what I think? You should stay here to make sure we aren't followed. She could have been in contact with any number of people in the time she's out. He suggested slyly to his partner. Idiot number 1 or idiot number 2, I don't know. That's their names. Idiot, Dumb and Dumber. Idiot 1, number 2, second. God. Seriously, who would fall for that? Everyone knows that I have no one I can rely on in my country. Not to mention, I've been outside for almost 2 days, almost 3 days, judging from how the shadows are beginning to grow. Okay, so this shows me that Akira here has committed war crimes. It's just the only obvious outcome. I mean, she got kicked out of her country and no one likes her. Clearly, she committed multiple war crimes. Really? Because I think I should just kill you now and get the fame for myself. I mean, I'm handsome, so the wealth would suit me well. Idiot number 1 stated while pushing what little hair he had on his balding head to the back. Bro, he's kingpin. I took every ounce of control I had not to burst out laughing. But I knew if I did get their attention... No, if I did, their attention would be on me again. I had to use this to my advantage, though it was just getting more and more difficult to take these through too seriously. Who had they sent after me? Stand-up comedians? Wait, okay. Wait, so these 2 are working for the country Akira ran away from after she committed multiple war crimes, you know? With my bro Michael, you know? That's what happened, okay. Do you really think you can kill me? Yeah, we both know I'm stronger out of the 2 of us. I'm smarter. Who cares about my smarts if my fists crush your skull? You know the old saying, brains over brawn. That's nothing more than a saying. Brawn always wins. Oh my god, are they actually arguing over this? Brains win. No bronze. Brains, brown, broth, brains, brain broth. I don't like eating cow brain. They actually are. They've officially sunk to the preschool level of bantering back and forth. From my minor knowledge of preschool, one should be crying for the teacher by the end, and she would tell them it didn't matter. Now here's a cookie. I turned my head between them for each time they sent another insult. Now then, how to use this to my advantage? Alright, let's test this. I said loudly enough to gain their attention. Alright, let's test it, okay? Let's test it. Let's test it. What's Akira's voice? I don't know. It's just my voice. Whoever wins gets to take me back and gets fame and fortune, while the other stays here or dies. Either way. A nice voice for Akira, I'll admit. They looked at me and then at each other. At first, I thought I had just dug my own grave. Thinking they'd turn on me, I braced myself for some sort of violence. My worries ceased as a look of determination swept across the clearing. Then it began. And then it began. Idiot number 2 dropped my arm as they first jumped away to opposite sides of the clearing, slowly circling each other. You know she's right. Killing you would leave me with everything. Same goes for me. With you dead, I can finally reach my Tesla levels of fortune. Not Nikola Tesla. He wasn't so fortunate. A slight movement of the foot, and they attacked each other. They pulled out all of the stops. Then Jitsu and Taijutsu, though Genjutsu seemed a little too complicated for them. I smirked at the time and thought, but quickly composed myself. No, now's not the time. Now is the time I have to get away. I began to slowly back out of the clearing, my eyes never leaving the fight. A stray kunai flew for my head, but I was already at the edge of the clearing and ducking behind an oak tree, a Professor Oak tree that probably saved my life. Ah, that nearly killed me. Thank you, trees. There's not many of you left. I stared at the kunai lodged at the tree. The metal glinted faintly in the gray of twilight. I peeked around the tree, grabbing it. What? When did this turn into Animal Crossing? You put the... Oh, she grabbed the kunai. Okay. But it didn't sound like that. It sounded like she grabbed the tree and put it into her pocket. I don't even think you can put trees in your pocket in Animal Crossing. The sentences need work, but maybe they get better. This is the first chapter. I don't know why, but I just felt safer having it beside me. Besides, I might need it if those two come back for me. I'm not exactly used to throwing a knife. I turned around, keeping my back to the tree, and walked straight into the bushes, not glancing at my idiotic captors. If I had glanced back, I would have been plagued by the scenes for weeks. The two of them were drenched in blood, so much of it that it was the opponent's, and yet so much of it was their own. Huh? But you didn't glance back at it. How would you know they were covered in blood? Swords protruded from their backs as they fell almost softly to the previously green grass, now dyed in a deep red. Hold up, I'm just writing something into my notebook. Don't mind me, guys. Just wait a bit. Come on. And we're done. There we go. I walked for what seemed like hours, even though it was actually 30 minutes until I got to a little stream. I sank down into the grass beside me, allowing myself to rest for a bit. They still hadn't come for me. Maybe they had made camp, but I still couldn't risk sitting here for long. I cupped some water and drank some of the water and drank so deeply. It was pretty clean water. It was pretty clean for river water. It was also freezing my hands, but I needed it now. Mount Fiji? Clone? Mount Fiji Echo Fighter? Who knows? I hadn't found anything to drink in days, let alone something to eat. My stomach growled in agreement, unsatisfied with the pitiful water I supplied it. I need food, and soon. I thought glancing around for berries that I was familiar with, or maybe even a small animal. Now I know I wouldn't be able to handle killing, even if it was no. I know I wouldn't be able to handle killing, even if it was for food. You gotta survive. Just saying. Sometimes it's necessary. You should have brought, I don't know, ramen. No, bring like, I don't know. I'd bring some crackers. Eat something. I looked back at the stream, peering down at my reflection, to see a girl with long tangled hair, like twigs sticking out from it, and from all directions, big brown eyes, dirt and dirt all over her face and clothes. I nearly didn't recognize the girl from 2 days ago. She was clean and well kept, not like this wild girl looking back at me. Like I said, the appearance of Akira Shogun's Akira. Ugh, I need a bathe, wash my clothes, and then deal with my hair. I sighed, picking myself back up off of the ground, glancing around. Unless this is Eve's own OC, but it's wouldn't you say it's a bit uncreative to make a OC that multiple other OCs have the name of, with very no with the same colored hair as many of the other ones? Yes, there's more than one brown colored Akira OC. I saw. This stream was the first real landmark I'd found, and I wasn't about to lose a water source. I decided that it would probably be a good idea to follow it. Besides, it would give me a chance to cool my feet. As I walked, I began to feel slightly lighter with each passing moment of freedom. Sure, there was still danger, but even if they caught me, I would have felt this at least once more. I couldn't remember having ever experienced anything like this, though. My days were structured, orderly, and torturous. The only highlights of my day were visits from my brother. I guess your dad was training you pretty hard before you commit those war crimes. I continued following the stream until it got me to a natural hot spring. Who knew? Maybe my luck was beginning to turn around. I stripped myself of clothes and jumped in. I soaked for a long time, almost dozing off, before remembering that I shouldn't relax yet. Who can I say? Hey, I learned from Kid Icarus Uprising that you didn't know? Hot springs are the key to ascending, didn't you know? Hot springs, they're pretty good. They're pretty stoochy. I'm gonna say something different than Gucci because it sounds creative and not the same word. Or is it? I swam back to my clothes and tried to deal with the dirt in my hair, but my hair kept falling into clumps in front of my eyes, annoying me to the point that I wanted to cut it all off. I switched from my clothes to my hair, but as I worked, I soon realized that it was worse than my clothes. I picked at least 30 twigs and leaves out, but I wasn't even close to done. It would seem that cutting it off was the only real choice. I had heard of other girls whose siblings had their hair tied to a knot, tied it in knots, cut their hair off as well. So it's probably not a bad idea. I got out of the hot spring, trying to ignore the chilling air, and walked over to my still muddy clothes. I dug through them, finding empty pockets before finally grabbing my kunai. I used the spring as a mirror and cut my hair. I didn't really know how much to cut, so I just cut it to my shoulders, and then to my neck, and finally my hair reminded me of my brother. Okay, so it can't be the same Akira I showed earlier. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Who is this Akira? Does it belong to Eve 066 or not? I'm gonna know. Believe me. I'll find out. This would make my new cut easier. Wait, bruh, I skipped like a whole paragraph. At first I hated it, but I ran my fingers through it and noticed how easily they glided, even with some knots. I realized why he had always kept it short. It would make my new cut easier to manage while running through the forest, and I wouldn't need to worry about me getting caught by anyone or anyone else. Besides, I don't look half bad. Now, what to do with the hair trimmings? I looked around, not seeing any way to dispose of it, so I just piled it up near a tree. I mean, just imagine walking through the forest, and suddenly you come across this huge lump of brown hair. I mean, just imagine finding clumps of hair while you're walking through a forest. I can't imagine that, you know? It feels pretty odd. I then went back to my clothes. I brought them into the hot spring and with me and swam around them for a bit, which was more tiring than I had thought. My muscles ached as I threw them onto a nearby rock. I started with my shirt, dragging it from the pile and grimacing at the grass and dirt stains. My shirt might have been plain, but until today it had been well taken care of. It was a plain black t-shirt, nothing special, but I liked it. It used to be my brother's, so it was a little big, but to me it was perfect. The pants, too, were good, but they didn't cling on to me and they were light. They were plain beige pants with a pocket just above the left knee. I used to collect rocks from the garden and stick them in there. I would go back to my room weighing 2 pounds heavier. I laughed at the memory before I got back to my clothes. I scrubbed for a while before deciding that they just needed another good soak. I threw them into the spring before throwing on my underclothes, which, seeming as if they were under my clothes, were clean. Then I risked a small fire just to burn away the hair trimmings. After that, I just threw my cloak over me and sat, waiting for the sun to rise. The end. Or at least of this chapter. So that was the Akira Files Runaway. Now, let's talk about the pros and cons of this chapter. Pros. There weren't too many spelling errors. I saw like one, but other than that, there were very few spelling errors. And I do like the way this sets up what will happen next. It makes me suspicious. War crime jokes aside, I'm interested what she did to get kicked out of her country. Anyway, yeah, the premise, I think the premise is okay, a bit cliche, but I'm fine with it. It's the woman disguises as a guy thing. Okay. And anyway, so far, this main character, Akira, she's a bit of a mixed bag to me. She feels realistic, seems what would actually go through someone's mind in this situation. However, the way she talks, it just rubs me the wrong way. She comes off as a bit pretentious or patronizing, you know? Know what I mean? But of course, flaws make a pretty realistic character. So I mean, here we go. That's a mix of a con and a pro, by the way, just so you know. The con is the con is she's a bit patronizing and pretentious. Another con that I actually wrote onto this notebook while reading this is that the sentences were weirdly formatted, kind of confusing me. I'm sure this gets fixed later, but it kind of confused me for a bit, just saying. But that could have been me missing it, but still, try to format your sentences a bit better. So those were the pros and cons, and that's it. I think I'll record a Golden Sun episode tomorrow. However, don't expect anything from Pokemon Crystal Clear since I switched my PC, so I won't be able to play a Crystal Clear anymore. I will be able to continue Golden Sun. I'll just need to get to the point where I was, and that's that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Wattpad Reviews. Thanks. Thanks for